We're back. Sorry, we've been gone for a long time, but we're back. And it's totally my fault. I'll explain later. But today, on another fantastic episode of the Fantastic Mr. Podcast, we're going to talk about just stuff we've been watching over the last couple months. Because, like I said, we've been gone for a minute. Now we're back. And so let's get to it. So what's up, guys? I know we've been gone for a while. How's everybody doing? You can't hear you, Zach. You're muted or something.
I'm doing fantastic, just living life, and I've been longing for this day
Yeah,
for the grand return.
It's been a minute, and let me tell you why. Oh, actually, Jake, how are you doing? I'm sorry, can't hear you. What's up with you guys? You muting your mics now?
Oh man, this is so indicative of our programming.
I didn't know we were doing that. I should have muted my mic.
Then we just a 3 minutes of silence.
We're so trained to mute ourselves when we're not speaking. At least I am when doing.
I mean, I guess
I got
that's
a
fair.
mechanical keyboard, so I don't want you guys to hear the clickety clickety
Clickety clackety, clickety clackety.
clickety clack,
That's what they write in comics whenever people are typing. It's clickety clackety.
clickety clack. I'm great, dude. Just spending time with my family.
How's the baby?
She's great. She's almost 4.
Mount Everest. Is that her name? Mount Everest.
Little Everest. Yep.
No,
And
Mount
she
Everest.
lives up to her name. She climbs everything. And
When's,
I'm
when's baby number 2 coming?
oh no. You stop with that.
Not lack of trying. Am I right?
we're good, man. We're solid.
Okay.
Only child life. There we go.
We got our little tribe, and we're happy with it.
Hashtag only child.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
So
It's good, man. You asked me how my family was doing, so I'm gonna keep going.
tell us. Tell us
It's
how your
good.
family's doing.
I'm introducing Everest to like all of my favorite children's movies, so like movies I watched as a kid, and
Like
like
what?
just kids movies that I think are good, like the Aristocats.
Oh yeah, good
That's
choice.
classic movie.
I haven't seen that since I was a kid.
I've gotten her off of like Frozen and Disney.
Amen,
And
brother.
so we've been watching a lot of like Rango.
Okay, but you know that Aristocats is Disney.
Yeah, I'm talking
You
about
mean-
new Disney, like
Gotcha.
Frozen and Kanto, the Last Wish or First Wish or whatever the freaking name it is.
I think it's just called Wish.
Whatever, it's dumb.
I watched that on a cruise. Well, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I like because I was sitting where I was sitting, the screen was right in front of me, but I was like reading and listening to music.
You just couldn't avoid it.
But yeah, you couldn't because the screen is huge and you're out
Yeah.
on the Lido deck and you can't avoid it. So sometimes I'll pause it and kind of watch it. And I got the gist of it
Yeah.
from just like going in and out. And it wasn't like I didn't care for it. Like some of these newer
No, it's
Disney
dumb.
Pixar movies aren't as good. Like the newest.
Justice for King Magnifico. Justice for the King.
It's like saying justice for Billy Zabka on The Karate Kid. Anyway, you know that King was paid by Chris Pine. I didn't realize that.
I
until
did.
I had to look it up. But yeah, I watched. I mean, like some of these Disney Pixar movies, these newer ones aren't as good as they used to be. Like the newest one I can remember that was good was Moana. I really liked Moana.
I will
But
say Moana and Encanto are both very good.
I've heard Encanto is really good, and I'll watch it eventually. I just like since Frozen, I just been real like weary about watching these movies because Frozen was hyped up so much, and I've talked about my Frozen theory on here, where everything's hyped up so much that when you finally watch it, it's just not good, and that's how what Frozen happened, and it's kind of sullied my tastes as far as Disney Pixar go. And so
Yeah.
I'm like,
Frozen 2 is a lot better than the original Frozen. I'm not a fan of the original Frozen at all. Frozen 2 at least has a semblance of a plot
sure.
outside of just the random whiplash villainy of whatever his name is. Actually, like, is
Yeah, I
pretty
forgot his
decent.
name too. Yeah, I
Um,
wasn't a fan of Frozen. I haven't seen Frozen 2 yet.
yeah,
Anyway.
and then Encanto will if you have any like childhood trauma, it'll make you cry.
Well, I think then everybody should be crying,
Yeah.
except for Zach. Zach grew up in a perfect family.
No.
I've met your parents. They're lovely. Your parents are lovely. Anyway,
Thank you.
so let me just Thank you. Let me just tell you the reason why we haven't gotten on in a while is because I went to see so the movie theater not too far away from me, it started playing all the Spider-Man movies. So Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland, and I jumped on that. And so I went and saw all of them except for No Way Home because, like I said, I was on a cruise, so I couldn't go see it. So the reason we couldn't meet is because it was Mondays at like 7. So I would get back at like 9:30. It was already too late. So
He ditched us for the Spider-Man.
It
I
was
mean,
worth it
dude,
though, wasn't it?
yeah, it was worth it.
You're a massive fan.
I loved I loved seeing every single one of those movies in theaters again, especially like Amazing Spider-Man 2. That's still in my top 3
With
Spider-Man movies, I
Electro.
think. Yeah, with Electro and just the whole I will say Green Goblin, piece of crap. That Green Goblin is a piece of crap. Like, no, you could have killed Electro or at least added to the fight and made it better. But fortunately they needed to add Green Goblin there because Harry was in there. And I don't know. Stupid. Anyway, so other than that, I like really love Amazing Spider-Man 2. And against, you know,
Yeah, I stopped
everybody
after
else's.
the Raimi trilogy.
I was like, a lot of people don't like Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I know. I know. That's what I was saying. Like a lot of people don't care for it, but I like
Pe-
love it.
People sometimes people equate it to a Spider-Man 3 from the Raimi trilogies because the lots of characters and
Yeah.
felt
Too
it
many.
was kind of the pacing was all over the place. And but then again, I think was it what's his name, Mark Webb,
Yeah,
he
Mark Webb.
directed both. I don't think he had any one over his shoulder like Raimi did in terms of studio execs
Yeah.
saying they need to you need to include this and that. I think this is was truly Webb's vision for the film, but I guess after the performance and the reception overall, they wanted to go a different direction.
Yeah, totally. Well, I
Ultimately,
mean, I think the direction they went in after that was good. It's just kind of sucks we didn't get a number 3. But now
Yeah.
that it's kind of re-sparked or sparked, conversation as Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire and Amazing Spider-Man 3, and it's like I seriously doubt it'll happen, but it'd be cool if it
I'd
did.
like to do it. I'd like to see it happen, but I don't want to. I want them to be in their own contained universes. I don't want to have any maybe some minor references to their travel through the portals and all that, through the multiverse. But I want to see their stories contained to their own universes.
I
Because
agree.
I'm tired of Spider-Man interacting with other people. And so for the future, for MCU Spider-Man 4, I'm looking forward to seeing a more grounded Spider-Man that has to take over this new mantle of responsibility after no one really knows who he is except in terms of Peter Parker.
Yeah, I agree. I think if they did a Spider-Man 4, it'll be a lot easier to, a little bit better, a little bit, like you said, more
More
contained,
mature.
simply because he's older, for
Yeah.
one, and two, nobody knows who he is, and he's just a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Even though the neighborhood is New York City, it's like, come on, neighborhood? Yeah, right.
There's multiple neighborhoods. There's
I
boroughs.
mean, I guess that's true. That is true. All right, so let's get started. Who wants to go first? Let's talk about movies they've seen. Jake, you want to go first?
Yeah, let's start off with Mr. Jake here.
Yeah. I have a hard time watching movies now with my little daughter. But I've been
Wait,
trying to.
you have a
Like I
daughter?
mentioned, we watched Rango.
Yeah.
And like we watched Elf the other day. I'm trying to get her involved in like real movies, which I guess is debatable whether or not you think Rango and Elf is a real movie.
Hmm.
But I think it's certainly more real than like freaking Wish and whatever dumb stuff Disney putting out these days. So I'm trying to get her involved. We watched uh 2001: A Space Odyssey.
With
She
your
did
daughter?
not sit through it, but but
Yeah, I
she was
don't blame her. I didn't sit
she
through that
was
movie.
she was interested in the visuals every once in a while. She'd like run around the apartment and then just like stop and just stare at the TV for like 2 minutes
Yeah.
and then like run off again.
I need to rewatch that movie. I tried watching it. I got pretty bored, not gonna lie. But that was
It
also like
You have to think about it.
10 years
It's the
ago.
same type of movie as Gone with the Wind. You can't think of it like a movie. You have to
Yeah.
think of it almost like a
Like a book.
exhibit, like an art, like 2001: A Space Odyssey is like a series of paintings put in a timeline. If you
Yeah,
think of it as like going through a museum
Yeah.
and like looking at it as paintings and vignettes of like artwork, it's a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah,
that's
it's an
interesting. Yeah.
obscure format for sure to follow.
I try. I have it. I mean, it's up there in my collection.
So you've watched it?
I watched.
Hmm.
I probably watched like a third of it
A
before
third.
I was like, I'll watch this later, and never went back to it because I was kind of bored. I'm not gonna lie, but it's not that I won't try again. I've said I didn't like movies before, and then went back and watched them and
You
really
loved
liked
it.
them. It's like The Wizard of Oz. I just watched The Wizard of Oz again like a few hours ago, and like I didn't grow up watching that movie a lot, but it's kind of as I've gotten older, it's sparked my interest as far as like older movies, and The Wizard of Oz is just such a classic, and I saw it in theaters recently, which was awesome.
And
So
speaking of older movies, one of the other movies that I've watched on my free time is Seven Samurai,
cool.
which is 1956, I believe. It's
Sorry, yeah,
it is a Japanese film,
figured that much.
black and white.
I
And
think I've heard of this movie.
it's largely considered to be like really influential in a lot of modern filmmakers today. If you are familiar with The Magnificent Seven,
Hmm.
I know they had a remake with Chris Pratt,
Hmm.
but the
The
original
original
Magnificent Seven is the
John Wayne, I think.
Americanized version of the Seven Samurai.
Oh, that's cool.
It's essentially what it is. It's like one of the first Americanized like international films. The Samurai was so incredibly influential on that director that it sparked the Magnificent Seven, which has sparked so many uh, filmmakers since then. It's and I just watched it because it was like a kind of a I knew it was a an influential piece of film, and it's really fascinating watching it and how well it holds up even today. Like they hit all of the beats that you would expect from a really like dramatic film.
Yeah, looks like it came out the same year that Godzilla did, which is interesting. And also, it looks like the director, which is Akira Kurosawa, he helped out on The Magnificent Seven from
Yeah,
1960.
I actually didn't know that, but that's awesome.
Yeah, I was just looking at his filmography because his name sounds so familiar. Like I've seen something of his before, but I don't know what it is. So I was looking it up.
I've seen previews for Seven Samurai for the Fathom events montages of previews that
Hmm.
they have in the theaters, and they're going to be having in July. They're going to be it's going to be returning to theaters in a 4K restoration
That's
apparently.
cool.
So
Oh,
for a lot
really?
of people, that it would be the first time opportunity to see the movie. I probably go see it
That's
in theaters again. I haven't seen it, so I might be uh,
It's it was
down to
good. It's
see it.
on Max.
Is it
So I watched it on Max, but I would love to see it in theaters. If that was
especially?
especially if the first opportunity seeing it,
Yeah, it's
it
not
was really
playing.
good. And I
Did you
think,
watch it
and
in the dub
what's
or the
funny to
what?
me is, we watch films, and you can definitely see like it was made during a particular time, and there's like these really gross caricatures of like Asians and like Native Americans and Black people and stuff. Are like, oh my God, what the hell are they doing? Well, the Seven Samurai uh is not in it like free from that as well. They have some like these cavemen looking people who are always just like being idiots and causing trouble and such, and they have like unibrows and things. And I'm pretty sure they're supposed to be Caucasians.
Mm.
Like I'm
Looks
pretty
like
sure they're supposed to be like Germanic and like European
pretty sure
people. And it's like
John Wayne
super
played in.
racist.
Pretty sure John Wayne played a Japanese guy in a movie at one point.
Yeah, like that's it's the same feeling. And there's like these
Hey
two
man,
or three like just grunts
this is
basically
this is how they
that
did it.
the samurai seven samurai like deal with, and I'm like, oh, those I recognize them. That's me. It's white guy.
Yeah, yeah.
A caricature.
And that's the whole yeah, that's I
You,
mean
you'd
like I
get you'd get canceled if you did that today.
nowadays, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean I teach
Instantly.
black film, and it's just like that's just how films were made back then, unfortunately.
Mhm.
So what else, Jake? Got anything else you want to share?
Man. Dune 2. I watched that in theaters, but I watched it again
I
on
did too.
Max.
Yeah, it was actually really good. For the first half of it, I was like kind of lost a little bit. I might need to watch it
Mm.
again. But then the closer to the end, it got a lot better after he drank that stuff. Because he started, I guess, is like almost like inhibitions. I don't know how exactly it works. I need to watch it
Water of
again.
life.
But yeah,
He
um,
instantly changed.
yeah.
I thought it was a little bit too quick of a transition of his, at least the way it was portrayed in the movie of his sudden competence to lead and
To go
his
ahead and lead. Yeah.
yeah. I mean he
I
knows he
mean,
has
that's
to
kind of
fulfill
how it
this
was in the book,
destiny,
though.
but I wish they could have lingered a little bit more on at least his struggles to accept and fulfill
Yeah,
I know
his
that
prophecy.
I think that's the whole thing with that. What is it called? The water of life? Is that what it's
I think it's
called?
like the water of life.
Or something like that. Yeah, I think that's the whole thing is drink this and you're just gonna be the person
It's
you need to be.
yeah,
So
Yeah, the water of life.
water of life.
the magical water,
This is the water of life, am I right?
and that's when his eyes turn blue, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they were
Yeah, I
already
thought
blue.
so. I think no, his wasn't because he didn't live out in
Yeah.
the desert. But he might have turned blue once he did that.
Oh,
No, I'm pretty sure that they were blue.
Well, I know that in the first one they weren't because he asked about them being blue to
Yeah, the
Zendaya.
first one he wasn't, but
Now
I think
maybe
the
in the
second one
second one
opens
he
up
might have
with
been.
him.
Yeah,
why did they turn blue? Because you're in the desert all the time.
It's
he's
because
been out there a
it's
while,
all
I
the
think.
spice. It's all the it's essentially like those people who like eat silver and their skin turns blue. The
Mm,
spice in Arrakis turns people's eyes blue, so it's just the constant diet of spice.
cool. I like it. I wish that could happen to me. I
Just eat some
was
spice,
was
man.
in such an environment.
Good spice. I like the
Spice is
spice.
I think is actually a slang for a certain drug in the real world, but it makes you do crazy things.
All right. Thanks for telling us. Now we
I'm
know.
thinking of bath salt.
Yeah, I just thinking about some story I covered in Arizona, and I think spice was some drug that some guy had took, and he was naked and hallucinating, getting
Wow.
violent. Yeah,
All right.
I
Uh,
really haven't been able to see too many other movies besides that. We've been
okay.
doing a lot of exploration with the kiddos,
Family things. Got it.
family kiddos, family movies.
Yeah, I can't relate to that one bit, but I get it. All right. What about you, Zachariah?
yeah. I think we should both talk about in
In
a
a
violent
violent.
nature. It's a Canadian artistic slasher, I'd call it, and
Mm-hmm.
it takes place from the perspective. It takes place in some forest in Canada. It's a Canadian director and follows a group of teenagers from the viewpoint of this guy called Johnny, who's resurrected after a
60 years, I
dude.
think.
Yeah, dude steals a locket off the
Mm-hmm.
top of the corpse where Johnny's buried. So basically, it's this Johnny trying to find and
Get his
kill
locket. Just get his
and
locket.
retrieve his locket. And I think for this movie, I mean, again, I'm not someone that needs to go see horror movies. It's not my number one priority when it comes to seeing film, but I was interested in this one just based on the previews, the 4:3 presentation for the most part, even though there were some widescreen shots when it came to some of the scenery. But that artistic approach and the fact that it reminded me of the Friday the 13th game and Dead by Daylight, which is another game where
Mm-hmm.
you're playing as the killer, trying to find and capture and kill people. I thought that was a fantastic, unique take for a horror flick that I don't think we've seen all too much, but the presentation in this was fantastic. At least my audience, they were very into it. Some of the crazy kills were got a few laughs, including a particular kill on. I'm not going to spoil anything, but it was on
Mm-hmm.
involving a girl that was doing yoga. That was, I think, one of the most like out of all horror movies I've seen, one of the most gruesome yet kind of horrifically funny things I've seen.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
overall, I enjoyed the movie. I think the ending uh, was a bit odd. Even though it was odd, but I think strangely enough, that last 15 minutes of a survivor and someone else in a vehicle had the most tension uh, felt. I thought something was going to happen, and it doesn't. So,
Yeah.
but otherwise, some questionable dialogue and acting,
Yeah.
but for the most, it was a great slasher flick. Again, I don't see many of these, but in a violent nature, it's one I'd probably see maybe one more time, but I don't think I'll be watching it too many more times. But I appreciated the approach for sure.
I haven't seen it, but from the trailers, it almost appeared meditative at times. Is that kind of like it was like
Yes,
meditative
absolutely.
interspersed with just gore?
Absolutely, because there's long. You have probably why some people left my theater and never came back. I thought that maybe they went to go take a dump or something, but they never came back. There's a lot of periods where you're just seeing from a third person view of the killer Johnny, just walking, trudging through the forest, and you're just listening
Mhm.
to the, the sounds of nature, and it happens quite a bit. So it is kind of slow and it takes some time to build up. So that I guess from that perspective, it's you could say it's meditative. There's not a score. There's no score in a violent nature, which
Wow.
again I'm a big fan of movies that could get away with it, and you don't need to rely on music to carry or complement the movie.
Are
So
there a lot
Yeah,
of jump scares, or is this like a suspense?
not
I wouldn't
really.
I wouldn't say jump scares. What do you think, Justin?
No, I don't remember being jump scared at all. I mean, it honestly wasn't. I mean, horror movies are my jam. Slasher movies, not so much. And I almost didn't go see this because when I saw the trailer, I thought it looked like a student film, and I was like, this looks stupid. But Zach was like, go see this movie, and I said, okay, I'll go see it for you, Zach, because you're my friend. And I like going to movies, and I'll watch any movie once, so I was like, and but the thing was, he said you got to go see it in theaters, and I said, okay, I'll go see it in theaters. And I'm glad I did, because like you said, there's no score, and it was just nature and him walking around the forest, and like the sound design is on point, because when you have a movie like that, your sound design has to be on point. And so like it's just listening to him walk through the forest and stuff.
What
Like
do you think of
I
that? I mean, as a viewer, I mean, did it? What were you thinking as you're watching this
I was thinking
hunking
that,
killer just walk around and
yeah,
looking for his prey? I mean, what did it
I
do for
I
you?
thought, this, I thought it was awesome. I thought it was great because, like I said, I don't care for slasher films like Friday the 13th and all that, where they're just going around slicing heads off and stuff. Now, I will say the kills were cool. The one kill you're referring to, Zach, reminded me of Mortal Kombat, because it was just so outlandish, and
Finish
even
him.
I, like, when I saw it, I kind of chuckled, because I was like, holy shit, I
As it
was like,
kept
this
on
is,
going, right?
yeah, I was like, this is crazy. And then when, like, because I mean, I'm gonna spoil it just a little. He punches through her stomach, and I was like, "What the hell?" I was like, "How is he doing that? Like, how is he? He punched through her stomach." And but then I thought, why is he doing that? Because that's not gonna kill her. But then I figured it out later, and I thought that was dope. Like, I was like, that was like one of the coolest kills I've seen in a horror movie. Because a lot of them are just like, let's stab, 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 or whatever, and cut a head off. But that was pretty. It was neat. And just watching him, like you said, Jake, it is kind of meditative. Like, I could have laid there with my eyes closed and listened to that,
But
but I wanted to watch the movie, so it wasn't a good idea
people
to
right now are questioning the sanity of
us.
Mr. Justin Strange.
I mean,
This guy could just meditate and listen to some guy kill
and
people and walk through the forest after.
I'm cool with it. I mean, like, honestly, like, I can watch slasher movies. There's not a problem. It's just not something I do. So like when you suggested this, I'm like, oh man, because I think I had read in the descriptions, like, it said something about it being a slasher film, and I was like, man, I really don't want to go see a
Yeah.
slasher film. But like whenever I left the theater, I messaged you guys. I said that was the indiest,
Yeah.
indiest uh slasher film I've ever seen. And my friend Austin, who Jake knows Austin. I went to school with him, and he loves slasher films. He also likes, like, demon movies too. His, like, a lot of his stuff has to do with like demonic stuff when he does make movies. But he loves slasher films, so he loves like Friday 13th and stuff. And he like really loved this movie too.
He
So
did.
yeah,
Should have brought
it's
him
kind.
in. That'd be would have
I
been
yeah, it would have been cool
yeah.
to talk about it with him, but
Maybe when we have an episode about specific genres again. I don't
yeah.
know. Maybe Halloween.
So yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it. It's I don't know,
What were some of your gripes,
I didn't care
or
for
just
the
minor gripes?
I didn't care for the dialogue as far as the campfire scene. There's
It
always a
drug on a
campfire.
little bit too. I feel like.
Well, I did like the cinematography. The cinematography throughout the whole movie was great, including like you said, the 360 around the campfire was went on a little too long. I don't know. I enjoyed it. I didn't care for the dialogue, but I'm wondering if the dialogue is just to be there, not necessarily something that needs to, something we need to really reflect on,
Yeah, because that fire scene, that campfire scene. I mean, we're seeing. I think we've, as the audience, we're kind of from the perspective as well of Johnny, who we see is yards away, just listening and watching like we are. We're just waiting for something to happen. I feel like the 360 orbiting of the camera is one of those guys who ends up getting killed first is telling the story of
Oh yeah.
Johnny and the locket and all that. It felt like it was. I just started losing interest after
You just
a
started
while.
like drifting away.
Drifting away. I feel like it could have been wrapped up a little bit
It
sooner.
might have.
I felt some tension though, because I didn't know maybe that because they kind of again a lot of the movie, like I said, 99% is from the perspective of Johnny, but then they kind of stray away from that format when you have this like campfire scene, and it's like there was kind of a lack of like consistency there. But I thought maybe Johnny would come out from behind and like kill someone, but the
Yeah.
first kill ends up being a
Way
little bit
later. Yeah.
Yeah, and you got to get a glimpse of some of the squabbling that tends to happen in horror movies among teenagers or young 20 somethings, their little drama that's going on,
Yeah.
but you hear it from the perspective of the killer.
Yeah.
And
And that's what I
interesting.
liked about the conversations was it was from the perspective of the killer. So the dialogue wasn't as loud as dialogue typically is when you're following a killer. You could hear the conversations, right? But you couldn't see them. They were so totally off screen. And that part, I really, really liked that decision where you can hear them talking, but you don't see them. The dialogue isn't as loud as it would be if the camera was in their face. It was a really interesting choice, I thought, for a horror movie, so like it was cool when we were just following him, walking behind him or whatever, and you could hear people talking, and it was interesting, very interesting choice that I really enjoyed. Um,
Yeah, what do you think about the reveal, kind of anticlimactic, at least to me, reveal of the dude's face?
oh yeah,
It just happens, there was no really
yeah.
build up. He just
It's kind of like
takes off the mask.
the reveal of Kylo Ren, and I was like, "Who?" Because like the dude's he's not deformed, but he's a little mangled. I guess he's dead.
Yeah.
He's been dead for years. And when Kylo Ren first took off his helmet, and you see Adam Driver for the first time. Adam Driver is a great actor. Not yeah, exactly. He's not exactly the best looking guy in Hollywood, but like I said, he's a great actor. And when he took off that
Has a
freaking
unique look.
helmet, yeah, and it was same with Pedro Pascal in the Mandalorian. I was like, dude, why do y'all keep taking these guys' helmets off? Leave them on. They're wearing helmets for a reason. And like, so whenever he took the mask off, and you're like, oh, we're not going to get to see his face because he hadn't seen his face this entire time, and then it just boom, there's his face. And you're like, oh
Because
shit.
usually they would save that for later in
Yeah,
a movie
yeah,
like
but that
this.
was like in
I
the
feel like
middle of the movie
yeah.
or something.
He was just
He
chilling
was just
and
chilling. He
hiding.
was well, he
Yeah.
was playing with that car,
Oh, the car
the car on
keys.
the keychain, and then he
Yeah.
ended up crushing him.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was an interesting
Oh,
reveal.
yeah. I think you mentioned you love the cinematography, but uh, I'm just going to talk about this particular duo of kills when he throws the axe at the guy that's running away, and the
Yeah.
other guy had been shot, I believe, and he's limping away. But that's like it's an aerial view for a little bit
Mm-hmm.
as the guy's
Mm-hmm.
walking, and then he throws a big old rock on
Yeah.
the guy. I think once or multiple times.
Yeah. The kills were interesting.
The
There
first
was a
one was the first one's off camera, which was kind of interesting choice. Of the guy in the home. Remember?
no.
It was
I thought the first kill was the
what
guy
was the
on
first
the
one?
tree, leaning on the tree, listening to music, and then he like pulls
No.
the The
The
machete,
no,
whatever.
the first one was
What's the whole reason that this
oh,
guy's killing people anyway?
He wants the locket, and for some reason, he's killing. He knows who has the locket,
sentimental
which
value.
is crazy because he knows he has the locket. He sees who has the locket, but he goes and kills all these other people anyway. And maybe it's just to get them out of the way. I don't
You're
know
right.
if
It's the
he's thinking
tree.
about it. But
Yeah, it was.
yes,
I thought he had been killed in the home, but I forgot
hmm
he had ran
he
away.
went
He had run into the
outside,
forest.
Mhm.
Okay.
said he was gonna go take a shit.
No,
One
no,
other,
was it that? No, no. The first
yeah.
guy that was killed was an old dude, wasn't it? That he's like, "What are you doing in my house?" He shoots Johnny, and then he
Oh, that's
drop,
right.
and
That's
then he
right.
runs into the forest, and they
Yeah, yeah,
trip all
yeah.
the time, and
He like
yeah,
chases him into the woods. That's right. I remember now.
yeah. But
Yeah,
the
that
first
was
guy with the through the
yeah.
mouth, and that
Yeah,
was
that was
interesting.
cool. And then he like carries him all the way to the ranger station and just like uses his body to get into the building. He
Oh,
throws his body into the because there's glass on the door. Throws his body into the glass. That's how he gets into the building.
and that's when he
Um,
gets his uniform, right?
yeah, that's when he gets his little mask and stuff. We're just giving away too much. Anyway, I will say there is one gripe I have, and this is gonna say, well, you know what? I better not. I better
Just
not.
say it. Just say it. We've already said a lot.
I was really hoping for some boobs.
Yeah,
Because
I
that's
don't
what
know.
these movies usually have. Well, I was even like, all right, who are we gonna catch having sex? You know, because
You want
there's
you wanted all the tropes.
well, there's yeah, exactly, and there's always
You're trying to like
people.
platinum the slasher film.
There's always people that who yeah, there's always people who get killed having sex, and that's what I was kind of expecting. Um, yeah, I saw that. That was cool. Anyway, so I was kind of upset that there was no people getting killed having sex. I think is what it was, not necessarily that there was no boobs. Um,
Wow.
How would that look like? Would they just be like kind of off in the distance and you just like kind of see him in the background before he
I
comes up?
I
Or would he
I
like
think
Well,
sneak up on him?
I could get pretty graphic here, but I'd see like coming up from behind when they're in the midst of
giggity
performing, and
in the midst of performing.
yeah,
Oh
and then
man,
he I don't know, takes a big old saw and from underneath, I don't know, maybe a 2-for-1
maybe.
penetration, but with a knife.
We're gonna
Yeah.
do a double penetration.
Penetration, but with a knife. Um,
Skewered.
and okay,
Skewered.
and real quick, without giving away too much, I did enjoy the ending because, like you said, there's all this tension. You think something's going to happen, and it may happen, and it may not. You know, we don't. I'm not giving away anything, but I
Yeah,
did like the ending. It was a very interesting ending, and the girl. I mean, there's a girl. Spoiler alert:
she survives.
she survives. One girl survives, but anyway. So sorry, we went on a little long about that movie, but
I mean, you got it. It's a horror
Let me
film.
wrap up with what I heard from. I was listening to this YouTuber that he interviewed, Chris Nash, and apparently they had shot 70% of the movie, and then they had to reshoot majority of the scenes because the guy that played Johnny had some health issues, so they had to recast
ooh,
Wow.
and
it's
shoot
interesting.
elsewhere.
It's kind of
So
like Buddy Epson. Y'all know who that is?
I don't know who is he.
He is the original Tin Man, but
Huh?
Oh
they
yeah.
had to recast because he
Got
got
lead
like
poisoning.
How
let
far into the shoot?
10 days, I think, only 10
10
days,
days.
because he was breathing in that
Was
yeah
it
that
asbestos?
no, it
The
was
paint.
like it was the paint they were putting on his face, and he was breathing it in and started coating his lungs with it. Actually,
Yeah.
last night when I was like, I'm watching The Wizard of Oz, I actually just watched the making of The Wizard of Oz because I didn't realize that the making of The Wizard of Oz is almost as long as the movie itself. So I
Oh, it was
watched
like
it.
inundated.
It was good though. It was really good. Watching the making and everything. But anyway, yeah, he that's what made me think of Buddy Epson. Anyway, all
So
right,
yeah, in a
Zach.
violent nature, I would recommend for anyone that is interested in film overall,
I was gonna
except
say
that
I'd
they're looking for a
recommend.
more indie version of horror. Check out In a Violent Nature. It should be
Yeah,
on Shutter Films if you want to subscribe to that uh, service, or
yeah,
find it on some website of your pleasing.
or buy it. I guess you can buy it if you're
Yeah,
into that.
they
There,
do the legit way if you want.
yeah.
But
Okay, Zach, it's still your turn, bud.
I'll guess I'm trying to think what else I've seen that hasn't just been in theaters. I saw War Games. I think I posted some
Oh, did you?
pictures, and
Yeah.
yeah, I put it posted in Messenger recently. The one with Matthew Broderick.
Mm-hmm.
He's this whiz in Seattle or in somewhere in Seattle, Washington, and
Mm-hmm.
computer guy, and he basically manipulates systems with the federal government, and the government's after him because they learned that the source of this machine that could result in potentially the end of the world is traced to him. But I just thought it was a great movie. I never seen a young Matthew Broderick movie, but I thought it was a well
Never
acted
seen
movie. It was
Ferris
fun.
Bueller's Day Off?
No,
Oh.
but it was a fun movie. It took place in Washington State, and I'm a big fan of movies that have to do with the potential end of the world, and this was up my alley for sure. It was '80s too.
I taught that movie. Not really taught it. I just talked about it a little bit and showed the trailer because we are talking about it's digital storytelling and talking about games and stuff like that and how because I think the premise of the movie is that he thought he was playing a game, right?
It's true. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then he ends up somehow connecting to like the government's like stuff.
Yeah.
Just crazy.
Nuclear war panel.
Pretty much. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's a game of chess.
Okay,
Of
that's cool.
military
I want to watch that movie. I think I have it on my list on
Yeah, where did I
Amazon.
see it on? It's on Hulu right now.
Oh, yeah, I did know that. I did know
It might
that.
be Hulu, but through HBO, I have the HBO Max add-on, but I'm
Mhm.
not sure. It might just be available on Hulu. And
I
then the
was
other movie I saw was, I mean, I'll just say I saw Lord of the
talk
Rings,
about
Fellowship of the
however
Ring,
many movies you want, man.
Return of the King. I saw in theaters, magical experience. The extended editions, which really that's all I know when watching the Lord of the Rings movies is extended versions. Like people say, "Oh, this extended stuff, that's wonderful," but that's all I know. But I went to see Fellowship of the Ring on Saturday, and I was probably the second or third person in the theater. Sit down, and this other guy comes in and say, "Oh,
You go
awesome!
to
There's
see
people here." And I said, "Yeah, right on," or something like that. But anyways, he flew in from Dallas to San Antonio with his dad because he
Wow.
said the sole screening of the Fellowship of the Ring and the Two Towers, uh, somewhere in the DFW area, it was sold out. I guess he was on the ball for that. But anyway, so he
flew
had
in
the
from
means and flew
Dallas.
and stayed for a couple days. He couldn't stay for Return of the King, just because he had to go back to work on Monday. Anyways, it was like he was a massive fan. You could tell when someone's talking about Tom Bombadil. And people know who Tom Bombadil is from the books and such a out of
Hmm.
this world type of being. That's probably wouldn't translate well to the movies, perhaps. He's a fan, so it was nice to
Clearly.
hear his conversations with other people in the theater. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was great to see the movies in theaters because it's been a while since I've seen the trilogy overall. I mean, I watch the trilogy at least once a year, so it's not like I'm completely out of the loop. But it was
Yeah,
a
but to
magical
see it in
experience.
theaters, like I saw Fellowship of the Rings. I haven't got to see the other two yet because of other movies I wanted to see instead. But man, right when the Lord of the Rings, like the title came on the screen, I was hooked. Like it was awesome because I saw
I thought it was
Fellowship of the
only
Ring.
for the one weekend.
No, it's for here. It's 3 different weekends,
Oh man.
but it's all Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
They're playing
So
each film. Yeah, it's like 2 different weekends. So if you missed it
mhm,
this last weekend, you'll be able to have the chance this upcoming weekend as well. And I
yeah,
think it was more of an even more special and sentimental watching the Two Towers. Oh, I didn't watch it. I skipped the Two Towers, by the way. But when I saw the Return of the King, I don't know if you guys know who Bernard Hill. He played King Theoden, but he died. Bernard Hill died this year.
yeah.
So, seeing him in action, his wonderful speech before the big old army of the Rohirrim flash
Is
into
that
war
the
to save Gondor. It was just wonderful because, and this is the last time
you'll see
we get
him
to
in it?
see uh,
Yeah.
as Theoden. He dies by at the hands of the Witch King, the Nazgul, and in real life, and he sadly passed away.
In
So,
real life, he died by the Witch King of Nazgul.
but
That's
yeah,
what
it
I
was.
thought you were gonna say.
But there was a nice
Round of
uh,
applause.
and yeah, but there was also like people reacted to when they saw uh, King Theoden and his death
No,
because
yeah,
there people are thinking of Bernard Hill, the actor. So
yeah,
like when people have reactions like that and they're in tune with not just the characters but the people that play them, I think it makes much more of a pleasant experience. it's quite sentimental. So yeah, Lord of the Rings extended edition, Return of the King, 4 hours and 12 minutes or something.
Was there an
Um,
intermission?
no, no, you don't need
Nice.
an intermission. But I have the DVDs for the
When
extended
did you get up to
editions.
pee?
Never. But the DVDs for the
Wow,
extended
good
editions.
job, man.
Dang.
Yeah.
The
Sorry.
Yeah,
DVDs for
this
the
man's got a
extended
power
editions.
Hey, he wants to
power
talk about
bladder.
the DVDs.
The DVDs for the extended edition. As a kid, I guess I should have realized this, but I guess I didn't. But there are intermissions, for example, for the Fellowship of the Ring. Please insert disc 2 when it gets to the scene of Pippin saying, "So when are we going then?"
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And then that's
That's what
when you
we
insert
have.
disc 2. But now I would imagine the Blu-rays for extended editions these days, it doesn't have that because it's able to store more, has more storage. But I kind of like that, the fact that you have to get the other DVD out and insert it, and it gives you a little breather, and you get to use the bathroom or whatever. But
I almost got a box set at a thrift shop here in Fayetteville. It was like $50
yeah,
for like all of them, and it was very clearly like the 2 disc set
yeah,
For what?
DVD
I'm
ones.
sorry. I pulled my headset off. What'd you say?
I said I almost got a box set
Oh.
at a thrift shop here,
So when I was
Fayetteville.
working at Game Exchange, I was actually managing a Game Exchange, and this person came in with this set. It's really cool. It's the Lord of the Rings extended edition Blu-ray set. Um, there's the movies in there.
How many
That's
discs
what
in each one?
that's the one that that's the one that was in the thrift shop that I saw, except it was DVDs.
Okay.
Mm,
So there
mine look
are
different.
one,
Because
two.
ones the DVDs I have, it's like 90
Oh, this
discs,
is
and
the
half of
original.
them are for like the making of, which is probably among the best raw documentary of
And that's what I want.
film. Yeah,
That's why I didn't
So
get it, because it wasn't the one with the behind the scenes stuff.
yeah. I just go for the regular DVD. It's a nice packaging too. The one that I have.
so this has one, two, three, four, 5 discs. Extended edition Blu-ray, extended edition Blu-ray. Now I don't know if the second disc of the Blu-ray is going to be making of and special features. I assume so, because there's 2 extended edition Blu-rays. But then there's the DVDs,
Mm-hmm.
um, which let's see, part 1 from book to vision. So that looks like a um, what is it called? Making of.
Yeah.
Making of
Part
behind the
2
scenes.
from vision to reality. Yeah,
Yeah, I
behind the
wonder if
scenes.
it's like the same. Surely it's the same behind the scenes features
Well,
from the
yeah,
DVDs. Hopefully,
but then the fifth one is the Fellowship of the Ring behind the scenes. So I don't know. I've
My
never actually. Well, no, I have watched
I,
these, and I think the whole movie is on one disc, the Blu-ray. So maybe I don't know. I need to mess with these again.
my sister has a box set that has like 15 DVDs, and it like oh, 10 of them are just behind the scenes. Like it's
That's
just
dope.
an ungodly amount of behind the scenes stuff, and it's so cool.
Well,
yeah.
the funny thing about this set was this set itself probably costs, I would guess, over upwards of 20, maybe $30
How bad is it?
at the time. And this was a long time ago. This was probably, well, I say a long time ago. It's probably like 8 years ago, maybe.
It's a long time ago.
Because yeah. But when I bought it, it was $10 because I accidentally bought it in as, I think, just the Lord of the Rings trilogy DVD. So it was only $10. So when I realized my mistake, I was like, I'm buying this. Like, I'm not going to fix it. I'm going to purchase this. And that's what I did. And I've
Is
had it ever since.
is
So that
Lord of the
wait, that happened when you
Rings?
were like stocking it or what?
No, I bought it in. I was the manager at the time. I
Uh-huh.
bought it in because someone was selling it. And I
Oh,
looked
you
at it.
bought it as the DVD set.
And I accidentally bought it as the DVD set instead of the
Yeah.
Blu-ray extended edition set.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Oh
when I,
my goodness, you
yeah,
noob! Just kidding.
yeah, exactly. When I realized my mistake and saw it was $10, I was like, I'm buying this. Because what happened was I bought it in and then put this price, saw the price tag, and I was like, this is only $10. I'm buying this. And then I realized my mistake. I was like, oh, it's because I bought it in as the DVDs and not the Blu-rays.
But do you guys know the difference? Like, I'll just one little quiz question. If you guys can identify when the title card for Fellowship of the Ring pops up in the theatrical versus
I
the
know
extended.
in the
You know?
extended, it pops up when you're in, um, Frodo's house because it's
Yeah.
going through the house.
That camera
Um,
movement.
yeah.
Yeah. And that same camera movement is in the end of near the end of the Return of the King too.
The only reason I know that is because I just watched this movie in
But you know when
theaters.
it pops up in theatrical?
No, the
It's when
Shire.
Frodo. So after the prologue stuff, it
Yeah.
goes straight to Frodo sitting along the
Oh
tree.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's when the Fellowship of the Ring pops up.
I knew that. Okay, because I have seen the theatrical edition a couple
Yeah.
times. It's been a while since then. I've only seen the extended stuff, but
And in the
man,
extended edition, you don't have the well in the theatrical version, you don't have the part where I believe so, where Galadriel is presenting the gifts for all the members of the Fellowship,
man,
or like
holding this
lembas blood, lembas bread. I want some of that lembas bread. It looks delicious.
anytime like you watch an old movie and they're eating just bread, I'm like that bread. Like well,
That's some good bread.
I've been watching The Chosen, right? And anytime I see that's all they eat almost always is bread. And I'm like, that bread looks so good. And they're just eating it by itself because that's all they have. And I'm like, that looks so good. Like they're just like tearing it in half and then just picking pieces off and eating it. And I'm like, man, that bread.
ASMR.
I just want
So
to go wild on some gluten.
on that bread.
Give me that bread.
Give that bread head. Am I
I think
right?
we're just genetically predisposed to just love bread.
Yeah. And holding this collection in my hand, it's making me feel things.
Okay, one more movie.
Yeah, go
I think
for it.
we've talked about briefly, but Civil War that I just enjoyed.
Oh,
back in
dude.
April.
All right, you can talk
So
about it.
if you want to have that segue into your
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, we can do that.
love for it.
Yeah,
But Civil
go ahead.
War, I enjoyed the movie. It's I don't know really what I was expecting. I just knew it was from a movie about journalists going through.
Yeah, the scene on the airport terminal wasn't that great for me. They could have picked a better scene, better space.
I don't know what you're talking about. I think
I
Zach.
remember
Oh,
that.
yeah, I don't remember.
I was trying to
that either.
process. I was trying to recall some.
I was
airport
making a
things.
joke about like Marvel Civil War, and then the
Oh,
Yes.
airport.
That's like the most prominent sequence. That whole.
well, it's because we were thinking of the movie. So silly
But
us.
Kirsten Dunst was. I haven't seen her in anything else as far as I can recall, other than Spider-Man. So it was nice to see her back in kind of this more rugged uh,
Dramatic.
dramatic role as this prominent war photojournalist, and she's seen many conflicts, and she's kind of this kind of reluctant at first mentor to this up and coming whippersnapper of a war photojournalist,
Yeah.
who ends up kind of coming full circle based on some conversations they have earlier in the movie, kind of fulfilling. They all fulfill their arcs. I feel like
Oh yeah.
in the end, a little.
Including
I was a little bothered by some aspects of the movie. I feel like that got to DC so quick. There's a certain
I
it
did.
went from one whatever wherever they were before DC, and it just suddenly plunges into this wide shot of arterial, just war happening at the Capitol. I felt it was a little sudden, but then again, war it happens very.
Hey,
It probably demonstrates the chaos of
the question is, Jack,
unpredictability of the war.
war. I mean, what is it good for? That's a
Nothing
song.
really.
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
But
Sorry, go ahead, Zach.
some people had gripes about the movie not having picking a side or being very clear on the origins of the war, which I don't think it was
Who cares?
needed. I
Yeah.
don't think it was needed. That wasn't the
cares?
point of the film.
I agree.
I mean, I felt perhaps it was a little left leaning in some ways, but overall, I felt like it was pretty neutral in the movie. And then Kirsten Dunst's
See, that's
husband.
funny because someone I work with came in and he was like, "Man, that was a good movie, but it was just so politically charged. I wish they would lay off some of
it's called Civil War.
Yeah.
What was politically charged about it? I wonder.
I mean, no, it
do you
doesn't
think,
matter
Justin?
if it's politically charged.
But
It's
what
called
do you think
Civil
could
War.
make him say that?
Because the
I
president's involved? I don't know. Because
I
they
don't
want
I
to
don't
kill the
know.
president?
I haven't seen it. I just like, man, they were just real heavy-handed with their some anti-American,
Yeah, of
sentimentality.
course they were. It's called Civil War, and you're in the United States. Somebody's going to be anti American.
Well, there
Like,
we go.
that is just going to be like the
What,
actual Civil War.
what
There
kind of
was
American are
probably
you?
exactly like there were several. I mean, in this sense, there were different kinds of Americans. You were either with the president or you weren't, or you were some sort of, I don't know,
Fact
outsider.
difference, outsider faction
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's just
from
like,
Florida.
of course it's politically charged. It should be politically charged. It's a movie about a civil war.
I guess
Sorry.
politically charged in favor of, I guess, your own
I mean,
politics, or I
yeah,
guess,
or
I guess
the
people were searching for a reason. I feel like that for to hate. I feel like that went into this
yeah,
movie.
because
They felt like it
they're
came too close to being,
something that they don't believe in, right?
yeah.
It's like that. Oh, I'm a conservative. This was too left for me. I'm a non-conservative. I don't remember what. I guess I'm a leftist.
I'm a
Leftist. Sorry.
liberal.
Thank you, liberal. That's the word I was looking for. I'm a liberal. So this was too conservative. It's like just go in there
Yeah, we
and
didn't get
enjoy the
that.
movie. I
Yeah,
didn't get. I mean, I didn't care. You know what I mean?
yeah. The use of sound design. What do you think about the gun sound effects, the war? I thought it was
I got
absolutely.
I got
It pierced my ears.
I got excited there. I thought it was good. I mean, the movie, the war sounds, I guess, are okay. I guess I didn't notice them as much as you did. I mean, because I expected them, as
I'm just
opposed to
saying, like the quality. Like it
yeah,
sounded
it was fine. It
like
was fine.
because sometimes in movies, like if we're talking, like I'm talking specifically the scene in Civil War. It transitions to the journalists alongside this unknown faction, and they're being shot at from, I'm assuming, the pro uh, government
Mhm.
folks that were on the roof, and they were trying to shoot this guy that was kind of pinned down, like that scene. I don't know
Okay.
if you remember that, but like that immediate, like whatever that scene was before, it was a kind of a peaceful dialogue. People were having a conversation. Then it suddenly transitions to this chaos,
Yeah.
and that was a common thing throughout this movie. You had
Mm-hmm.
moments of learning about characters and their backstories, and just nice conversations that were meaningful, and then it jumps back into high gear with the action. But
Kind of
I
have
get,
to with this kind of movie.
yeah, but that movie, I could just divide it into segments now. Like I think they were at this place, and then they moved on to this setting, like different set pieces essentially, and then they finally get to DC, which is probably divided into two,
Yeah.
basically outside the White House, inside the White House.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked it. Sorry, are you done? You good?
Oh yeah, I think I've made my points, but what do you think about like the ending and the way it? Some people argued it was too abrupt. I wanted some more exposition to explain what happens after uh, what happens.
Yeah.
Do you think it
No, I thought it was fine. Like
was fine?
the thing that bothered me was that the president was not in some sort of bunker.
Yeah,
He was
That
still in the
that was the
Oval
complaint of
Office.
my friend as well. He's
yeah.
like, he's just hanging out in the White
He's
I
House.
just
had
hanging
that.
out in the
I had
Oval
that own
Office.
little nerdy. It
Now,
wasn't nerdy, but it's a reasonable thought. But then again, we learned that some top commanders with the president like had resigned or something, or war cabinet. But then
oh,
again,
so
his Secret Service should
yeah,
have
but
done a better job at hiding him. Surely
he
there's an underground bunker in the White House, right?
he knows where the bunker is.
Maybe he's
He
just being
knows.
honorable. Maybe he's being
Well,
honorable
and
to be
that's what I was
taken,
just
right?
thinking. Like he's like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna face these guys. But then when he faces them, he's like scared out of his mind. He's like, oh, please don't hit
I
me.
need a quote.
And
I need a
so
quote. Remember?
yeah, no,
He
not
says
really.
that's what the guy says. I need a quote. That will
Oh
do.
yeah. Yeah, I do remember that. So I mean, I thought the ending was fine, especially
Yeah.
with the Kirsten Dunst and her ending. I thought that was a great ending for her, considering But I mean, overall, I loved the movie. Like I was like, I got to see this movie, and me and my buddy went and saw it. And I'm known for being a tired person, so there's been moments where I might like kind of nod off in
Mm.
movies. It just happens. But that movie, man, I was good. I
You
did
didn't
take a
nod?
I did take a 5 hour energy before I went in there. But I just not that kind of 5 hour energy. It's more like glug 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 glug. And so I mean I really enjoyed. I want to watch it again actually because they're
Haley Spaney. She would. I think I remember her from. She played. I don't know if you saw Priscilla.
the girl.
Yeah,
Talking about the girl.
and I
Okay.
think she's also going to
I
be
did see
in
Priscilla.
Alien Romulus. I think
I did
she's
see
gonna.
Priscilla.
Yeah,
Was that this year?
Priscilla. I think that was last year.
Oh, okay. Like at the end of last year?
Yeah,
Okay. Because I did see Priscilla and I was looking at my movies that I went to see this year and I don't see Priscilla.
yeah. I have my thing here. Let's see. This is last year. Priscilla's November 4th. I saw it.
Okay. I saw it too. I just couldn't, I thought it was, I thought, I know we're talking about this year, but I actually kind of enjoyed Priscilla. Against
Yeah.
like Elvis, the movie Elvis.
Hmm.
Um,
That was a good movie. Wasn't it?
I much more enjoyed Priscilla.
Why was it more like grounded, less
Yeah, it wasn't as
montagey?
yeah, which who's the guy that did
Baz Luhrmann,
yeah, he did what's that other movie he did that year?
A Great Gatsby.
No, he did
That's the only other Baz Luhrmann film I know is The
I'm gonna
Great
look it up.
Gatsby.
I'm about to look it up. Hang on.
But Kaylee Spanish, I don't know if you guys are into the Alien movies, but the Alien Romulus trailer came out like a week ago, and she's going to star in that movie. Apparently, they're going back to the horror
Oh,
roots
never
of
mind.
the Alien series.
I was thinking of Damien
Oh,
Chazelle. He did Babylon.
Babylon. Okay, I haven't seen that.
Babylon was good. But that was last year. Okay. Cool. I
Cool.
haven't seen any of the newer. Actually, the only Alien movie I've seen was Alien.
Oh, did you see the on Hulu? Well, I think it was last year. They came out. What was it called?
Prey.
Prey. I enjoyed that. They're coming out with
Prey 2.
another Prey 2. It's like within that universe too, which is
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that movie.
I hadn't seen it. I only saw Alien, and that's because it was for college. Okay, so I guess can I
Time for
you guys
you
mind? All
to
right.
talk about your lovely movies.
So I've seen a few movies this year so far, and since we've been on our break, if you will. Um, one of the big ones, of course, was Godzilla and Kong. It was a cool movie. Nothing story was fine, but the movie was very like fun. You know, I enjoy those Godzilla movies. Those what do they call them? The lion, not Lionsgate. Godzilla
Legendary
Legendary.
Pictures.
Thank you. Legendary Godzilla. I enjoy those Godzilla
Let's call it
movies.
MonsterVerse.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah,
looking for. The
yeah,
MonsterVerse.
yeah.
Um, Also very surprising. I watched Migration, which was an animated film by DreamWorks.
It's
Um,
the ducks, right?
Oh,
yeah,
that looked interesting.
it was actually pretty good. Me and my nephew went and saw it together, and I actually enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to. Because you know, like I said, these CG animated movies just are kind of going downhill. But this is a DreamWorks film, so maybe that has something to do with it. Um, Also, a couple horror movies I saw
Mm.
this year was Immaculate with Sydney Sweeney, and I do not care for Sydney Sweeney. She'll go on record saying I don't care for Sydney Sweeney.
So we could
But
add that to the list of other actors. What's the Joker 2 coming out?
with
And
Lady
that
Gaga,
Lady Gaga. Who's the other actress that you said you're not a big fan of? Renee
no,
Zellweger, but
Renee Zellweger, yeah,
she
I
plays
guess.
That
Judy
blacklist
Garland.
continues to grow.
Yeah.
Joker 2's out this year, isn't it? I
Well,
think
I'm not a
November.
big fan of musicians who go to become actors because they're usually not very good. Except,
They should stay in their lane.
yeah, exactly. Except for Justin Timberlake. I actually enjoy Justin Timberlake as an actor. Believe
Mm.
it or not. Anyway, I went and
I
saw
watched.
this movie.
Oh, that reminds me. Sorry,
It's okay. Go ahead.
that reminds me of one movie I have seen recently. It was "Don't Worry, Darling" with Harry Styles. That's what
I
we
saw
think of
that
it.
movie. That was
Was
a cool
this
movie.
year, and that was
Oh
a good
yeah,
movie.
that's true. Yeah, Harry Styles was in that movie, and he also
Was
was
he?
the Star Fox from the Eternals, but
Mhm.
he didn't show up until the post credit
And
movies.
he was also in 1917, I believe.
I got
Oh,
that
was
movie,
he?
but I've never
Mhm.
seen it. Anyway,
Right.
what were you asking, Zach?
I don't
Who
know.
was he in Don't Worry, Darling? He was the husband.
I haven't seen that movie, but
It was a good movie,
It's
and it
actually really good.
yeah, it's actually really good, and it was directed by Olivia Wilde. If you know who Olivia Wilde is, she's I first saw her on House. She was on House.
Yep.
But anyway, Immaculate was the movie I was talking about with Sydney Sweeney, and it actually turned out to be a pretty not bad movie, not bad performance from
my
Sydney
bad.
Sweeney.
Yeah. Harry
But
Styles is Dunkirk, by the way. My bad. It was
Yeah.
almost
1917.
yeah.
Okay.
It was Dunkirk, not 1917.
Dunkirk. Oh. Anyway, so Immaculate was actually pretty good. I liked the ending. There's this really cool scene with Sydney Sweeney where um do you guys plan on seeing this movie?
Sure, but I
What
don't mind
movie is
being
it?
spoiled.
Immaculate with Sydney Sweeney.
I'm not too much of a horror guy, so I probably won't.
You want me to just hold back, Zach? I
Yeah,
don't want.
hold
Yeah,
back
I
for
won't
our
say anything.
viewers
But
as
there's
well.
this really good scene. If you do watch it, Zach, maybe you'll know what I'm talking about with Sydney Sweeney close to the end of the movie.
But
The
just
fir-
you urged me to watch a horror movie recently. What was it? And I watched it with the nuns and all that.
Oh,
was it the
reminds
nun?
me. Another movie that I did watch. It's all
Sis
coming
was
back
it
to me now.
was it
But
Sister Act? That's a good
I
horror movie.
finally got to see the 1970s Suspiria. I was finally able to get a hold of it
Oh, you
and
hadn't seen
watch
it?
it.
It was on
I hadn't
Max, I
seen it.
think.
I knew about it. I wanted to see it. And I had done a lot of research on it, and I finally got to see it.
It was a pretty cool
Um,
movie.
yeah, I watched it in 14 parts on YouTube.
Oh, jeez. Got to do what you got to do, though, right?
Gotta do what you gotta do.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Speaking of, because I saw Suspiria, but I thought I saw it on Max. Maybe I didn't.
They have the 2018.
No, I saw the 1970. Maybe I bought it. Maybe I rented it.
If
'Cause
it's on Max, I'm gonna feel dumb.
Okay, hang on. 1977, Suspiria.
I'm already looking it up.
Yeah, I'm looking to see if it's
No,
on
it's
Max.
not on Max.
Wonder where I
Well, you
saw
look
it
at-
then.
I'm trying to find watch history on Netflix. I can't find it.
Let's see.
Oh, I found it.
Maybe I rented it. Oh, it's on Amazon Prime Video for free. Maybe that's where I saw
Mhm.
it. Yeah, because it's on Amazon Prime.
Really? No, I looked everywhere.
I mean, here
I
it is right
legitimately
here.
looked everywhere.
I'm looking at it. 2 hours and 32 minutes. Oh, this is 2018.
Wow.
Yeah, what was that movie? You were
Yeah.
watching it at the time as well, and you told me to watch it, and I did. It was like a horror movie. The guy, it takes place in Italy.
Oh, did I just watch this movie?
Yes.
Okay, hang on. I got you. Oh, sorry. You watched it?
Yes.
It's called Black Moon. Is that the one?
No.
This one? Oh, dang.
It's like a remake of a movie from the 70s.
Was it Suspiria?
Suspiria? Was it about a dance troupe?
No.
Dance
It's
school?
it's like a prequel in a way of
Oh, wait. Oh, I don't know. I don't think about it and I'll keep going. Did I see it? Are you sure it's not The First Omen? Is it The First Omen?
yeah, it is that one.
Okay, because The First Omen is a prequel.
Yeah,
That's what I was just about to talk about. Actually, was The First
All right,
Omen.
shoot. All right, there you go.
Yeah, I was just about to talk about. I actually watched it again recently because me. Oh yeah, because me and my friends watched it, and I said you guys should watch this movie, and I saw it in theaters, and like this movie had to go through so many passes before it got a rated R because of this one scene where they're giving birth to a monster, and it's gross, but it's awesome at the same time. But they had to cut it down real bad in order to get a rated R, an R rating. So, what did you think of it, Zach?
I enjoyed it. Again, I like the more demonic
Yeah, I do too.
horror movies.
That's
so
I
it's
think
up my
that's why I
alley,
like
and with religion involved and
Yeah,
everything.
nuns.
It made
Am
me
I
want
right?
nuns. It made me want to research the Omen and
I've never
everything.
seen The Omen, the original
Really?
Omen.
There's,
Yeah,
I
I've
know
never seen
there's the original, and then they did a more like modern version.
They did.
which
I
is-
did see the modern version with Julia Stiles.
How was that?
It was okay. I saw it in theaters. I was like, this is fine. I don't remember when it came out. I think it was like 2000
Early
something.
2000s.
Yeah. But I haven't seen the earlier version, the 70s version.
Yeah, but I heard this the first Omen. It kind of I don't know, it's retcons certain aspects of
Got the
like,
Omen.
the mother, like
Mhm.
how this gave birth to this boy and all that. But I
She
don't know.
gave-
I wish I wanted to see this demon more. I wanted to see the whole design, but we
Oh,
we
yeah,
saw it
yeah.
like a couple times, but I wanted to see more of it. I don't
Wait,
know.
I think you did tell me you saw this because I think you mentioned that, didn't you? Where you
I
didn't
wanted
get
to see more of the.
and I said go see Annabelle because
Demon.
you get to see demons all day long in that movie. Like
Yeah, I want
especially
to
the
see
first
this
movie.
demon. What is
Well,
with demons and wanting to
you just want to see
have
their
sex
face?
with people?
I don't know. It was
They're
gross
sex
though.
pests.
Anyway, okay, let's move on because I don't want to go on too long. But the first Omen was I really enjoy. I like scary movies, especially like movies about demons and stuff. So I enjoyed the first Omen, and Immaculate was good. I mean, it was okay. The ending, like I said, if you watch this movie, Zach, hopefully you'll know what scene I'm talking about when you see it. Okay, so I did go see Star Wars Episode One in theater. And that's the second time I've seen it in theaters, and it was really cool. That's all I really have to say about it. I mean, if you know what Episode One, you know Episode One, right?
Yeah, but
It's
this is
fine.
the first time I've seen the episode one in theaters with these edits that I guess are on that initially came out on the 2011 Blu-ray and it's the version you'll see on Disney Plus. I think the only additions that were I enjoyed in terms of scenes were that was the extended pod race. You got the introduction of all the racers,
Oh
and
yeah,
there's some different scenes, additional scenes within the pod race, like Anakin using the Force or something.
it's
It seemed like
working. It's
he,
working.
he seems like he was using his abilities to he was using some device to fix his pod in mid
Yeah,
race.
yeah, he did that.
That
That's
was
I've
cool.
always seen that. Yeah.
But I'm not used to it. I only version I have is the theatrical version that's on
Mm.
VHS,
He does.
which
He does fix his pod during the race. I didn't know. I didn't know that wasn't part of the theatrical version. I guess I've only ever seen this
it's not
version.
a part of theatrical version.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. The non-theatrical version is all I know, and they took away during the scene where it's Padme and say, I want to. We need new leadership. I call for a vote. No confidence in Supreme Chancellor Valorum. In the theatrical version, you start hearing after she calls for this vote of no confidence, uh, the the Senate erupts in a chant of "Vote now, vote now." But in this version, the updated version, it's bunch of random groans, and you don't hear the "Vote now" chant, which is like I
Interesting.
was disappointed in that, but otherwise, it was cool.
So quickly, I did remember something now that you speak of extra footage. No Way Home was really cool. Spider-Man, because it was because you know how they re-released it with extra footage. It was that version, and so there was longer conversations between the three Spider-Men. And then
Mm.
there was just other things I can't remember that they added, but the longer conversations was the interesting part because like you get some cool conversation in the theatrical version, but they added to it. And it was really awesome because me and Blake, my buddy Blake, like we were watching and then we both look at each other like, oh my god, this wasn't in the original version. And like some of the people I was with, because my family came, they had never seen. So this is like the first time they're seeing it with this extra stuff. I was like, this is so cool. Anyway,
That's awesome.
yeah, that was awesome. It was really great. I also saw Fellowship of the Ring in theaters. I mean, agree with everything you said. It was awesome. Seeing it in theaters for the first time ever. I'd never seen it in
Really?
theaters before. Yeah, because when it came out originally, what year did it come out?
I
2001
want
or
to say
something.
2001. Yeah.
I
I'll be honest.
was
I never saw it in theaters. I saw the Two Towers of Return of the King with my friends though.
okay. Let's see. I'm gonna
Back
look
in the
up
old days, I remember doing a
2001.
for a talent show. I was Frodo and my friend was Samwise Gamgee, and we were dressed up as hobbits. I forgot.
That sounds about right.
I think we were singing some song from the actual books. To be honest,
Oh, and
that's how
everybody's
much
like,
we
"What
were
the hell
into
is this?"
it.
My
It wasn't
sister
from
is
the
a,
movies.
my sister's a huge Lord of the Rings fan, and she's also very crafty. She made like the elven robes
Ooh,
for us.
Oh.
The only problem is like she made them like for like elf sized people, and this is like when she was probably like
what do you mean elf size
15 or
people?
16, like adults. She made them
Okay,
adult size, but like she's probably like 15 or 16, and I'm like 13. So she wanted to put them on me, or I was probably even younger than that because I was short, and so she used me to like put all the clothes on and like and look at. So I'm just like I look like a chubby fat hobbit in
in elf costume, in
in
elf
elf
form.
costume,
That's funny.
complete with like the little fake
Ears.
pointy
Oh, you
ears.
got the
Yeah.
little ears. Wow.
There's a picture of me somewhere. I just look like a
Did you have a
fucking
wig too,
weeb.
or were
Huh?
you a short haired elf?
You
Yeah,
had
I
to
had
stay
short
out
hair,
long.
like short. I had short hair. I was chubby. My boy, I was like, when I was 13, I was in like size 40s, which is larger than what I wear even today.
My
So like
goodness, Jake.
I was
I was a chubby little man,
Chubbers. Hmm.
and she put me in these long, flowy, silk, elegant robes,
That's so
Man,
pretty.
and I had
I
to
need to see
bow
a
and
picture of
curtsy
that.
and like do all the elf stuff.
Oh my goodness. I would love to see some pictures of that or videos.
They're around somewhere. I'm sure my family has them.
So
Well, guys, I want to get your take though on one of the cool cinematic things in Lord of the Rings. You know how they used like stunt doubles for like shots from afar of the hobbits. I thought that was always cool. Where you
okay.
don't really see the faces. Did you guys ever notice that?
I mean,
Yeah.
I just assumed you just assumed that
I,
they're
I
stunt
loved
doubles.
I love that.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
love that. But at
And
the before Frodo departs to outside of Middle Earth, there is one kind of jarring bit where you see like a superimposed of Elijah Wood on one of the doubles. I was like, okay, that looks a little concerning, but they should have just not showed the face from the side. But otherwise, I love that because I feel like sometimes I'm lost. I feel like they look like normal size up close, but
yeah.
when
And
you
then you
see
see
them
pull back.
interacting with
Mhm.
others and pull back, that's when you get to realize, oh yeah, they're
Well,
hobbits.
I
Or
noticed that
even with the dwarves like Gimli.
I thought about that too, and how like it's clear that there's some superimposition going on in close-up shots when you do see their whole bodies against other people, like Gandalf. But then I thought about like when you see them from behind and like from afar, and I'm like, there's probably
That's
a
awesome.
kid.
Yeah.
It's probably a kid in there, as opposed to it's like Alf. Have you all seen Alf?
Mm-mm.
Okay,
No.
Alf is a TV show from the '80s,
I mean,
and it's
I've seen Alf. I've never seen inside him. I assumed he was a
no,
puppet.
I'm saying like, have you seen the show Alf?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay,
yes.
okay. So Alf is a puppet, right? When he's close up, but when you see him walk away, like the first thing I thought of, there's a freaking kid in that costume because it's clearly a person walking, and it's the whole body. So you're like, there's a person in the Alf costume, but then when it's close up, where he's like, sitting down on a couch or he's like leaning up against the table, it's clearly a puppet. But when he's walking away, it's a kid in a costume because he's walking like a kid would. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's what I thought about with the hobbits. Is like I was like, there's probably either a little person or a child in that's dressed up like Frodo and all them.
Watch the behind the scenes. I remember seeing children. There
Yeah,
might have been
so
some like little people, but I
yeah,
think it was children. But yeah, that was one of the things as a kid. Even I was like,
something's not
not
right about
right.
it. Well,
But
I
I
do
loved it.
know. I think they did a lot of telephoto lenses, which if you know what a telephoto lens is, it basically makes things look closer than they actually are, bigger than they actually are. So like you'd have Gandalf standing off in the background, and Frodo and maybe Samwise standing in the foreground, and they're talking to each other as if they're talking to each other, but then when it's being shot, it's like it looks like they're next to each other.
Yeah, like in the Fellowship of the Ring when Frodo greets Gandalf, who's coming on his little horse wagon deal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I,
you're late. A wizard is never late,
it's
Frodo Baggins.
a good way of saying I'm
He
always late.
arrives precisely when
Yeah,
he means to, and then they have the awkward
yeah.
laughing thing going on.
I thought that was
I loved
cute.
it.
I
I
thought
loved
that
it
was very yes. I thought that was very nice. Like
because it's been a while.
they kind yeah they look at each other and then they burst out laughing. It's like
That
dude, that's
laugh
so.
though, Elijah Wood's laugh, it's stuck with me. It like crescendos. Yeah.
Anyway, I have just a few more movies to talk about, and I'll be done. So quickly, I did go see two Studio Ghibli movies this weekend because they were both playing, and that's why I couldn't go see the other Lord of the Rings movies because one was playing on Sunday, the other was playing on Monday. And so I saw The Secret World of Arrietty, which is a nice film about little people, and by little people I mean small people like Thumbelina, not like little people. Um, who live under the floors and they're called borrowers. So they go into the house with under which they live and take stuff like sugar and tissue and whatnot and for their own houses and stuff. And it was nice
Thieves.
because yes, they are thieves. They call themselves borrowers, but they're thieves because they don't give anything back. And but Arrietty, who's like the daughter, main character, she meets one of the actual humans, like the full size humans, I guess you call them. There's a good kid that lives there, or he's staying there because he's got some sort of illness, which Studio Ghibli's real good at being like, well, let's just put them in this remote location because they're sick for some reason. They need to go recover. So we're gonna put them in a and I'll tell you why that's funny here in a second. But anyway, it was a really cute movie. And then I saw this movie called When Marnie Was There, which is an Hayao Miyazaki movie who did Spirited Away and stuff, but it is still a Studio Ghibli movie, and it's a when I say this, it's a beautiful movie.
Is that the
It
one
is
you recommended I go see?
that you need to watch. When Marnie Was There.
You said it's on Max,
It is on Max.
but it's also
Yeah.
playing in theaters where I am locally.
Yeah.
So I might see it there.
If you can go see it in theaters, go see it in theaters. I'd never seen it in theaters. I'd only seen it on Max, and I also own it. But like, it is such a beautiful film, and the reason why I say Studio Ghibli's real good at being like, let's just put them out there because they're sick. Because the main character in this movie also goes to a house of her adopted mother's family, which is in a remote location because she has asthma and it's getting worse, and she needs to go somewhere where there's fresh air, and that's where she meets Marnie, and it's a very beautiful film. And by beautiful, I mean, like, yes, it looks great. It looks like a painting, right? Because it's Studio Ghibli. But it also just the story and everything. Like, there are
How's the
moments.
music?
The music's great. Like, I after I watched it in theaters, I put it on my playlist
Is
because
it that's like the traditional, the orchestral
yeah,
symphonic music?
it's also very like peaceful music.
Yeah.
Nothing too like banana banana banana. It's very really. It's kind of like Spirited Away. It's
Mhm.
very
Does
very
Studio
nice,
Ghibli have
tranquil.
does it have any music that's non-traditional? Any of the movies?
Well, I mean, they like with Secret Arietti, Bridget Mendler, who voices the American Arietti, she actually sings a song in the movie as well. And then also when Marnie was there, there's like a single, if you will, that goes with the movie.
So did you see these movies in the English dubs?
Yeah,
See, I'm how I am when it comes to just watching live action, and I really want to. I prefer to see in the
the
native tongue, not no
yeah,
subs.
that's
But when it comes to animation, I actually probably because I don't have much experience watching animation in uh, the
Japanese.
natural tongue or Japanese, but I like the subs to be honest with, or the
It's
English dub.
easier. It's easier
English
with
dub.
animation because their mouths don't really move in any direction except for up and down, right?
Mhm.
It doesn't like whereas like um
They got the old South Park effect where it's just like two
Moving.
different
yeah, I mean it's just
open
well,
close.
even South Park even has more mouth movements than Japanese anime. Japanese anime is just like this, right? It's
It's
just
the
up and
Canadians
down
on
up.
South Park.
Oh yes, okay, yes. But even Canadians, their heads are split in half and they move left to right.
Who?
Sometimes the Canadians on South Park,
Oh,
their heads are just like circular, but they're split in half. So when they talk, it's their whole head like flapping up and down. Um,
interesting.
and so like with Japanese or with any anime, it's easier to watch it in an English dub than it is live action because it's clear in live action that it is dubbed, right? Whereas
Sure.
in animation, it gets away with it because there's no real mouth movements.
Mhm.
And that's why I enjoy it, like the animation and stuff. But anyway,
Awesome.
when Marnie was there, great movie, great music, great story. I love, and like my friends were watching, going through Studio Ghibli movies. I was like, oh my god, you need to watch When Marnie Was There. And when they watched it, they were like, "What the hell did you make us watch? Like, why did it make you watch anything?" And they were like, "It's like some sort of lesbian thing." I'm like, "No, it's not." And then but she was just messing with me.
Unfiltered.
Yeah, she was kind of messing with me at that point
True. Yeah.
because she was like, "Well, no, I understood it. I just didn't like it." I'm like, "Well, I loved it." But I also like those kind of movies where it's like it doesn't have to be like a bunch of killing, a bunch of action and stuff. It's just a beautiful story between two people who are friends.
And for some people, they can't grasp that quality if
Yeah,
it's animated for some reason. I don't know. It's like if it's live action, maybe they could relate to it a bit more.
oh, maybe. Yeah,
If it's more grounded in characters, that look more grounded, perhaps not
sure.
out from a different world or different vibrant colors. Because studio uh, Ghibli movies are often like the art is very
Like
out
I
of this
could,
world, but they're still humans for the
yeah,
a lot of the characters are.
I could hang up. I would love to get just several screenshots from these movies and just hang them up in places.
Remember, I showed you guys a vinyl recently when I was over at this movie exchange place, and it was a Japanese
Hmm.
vinyl of one of
I
the
freaked out. I freaked
movies.
out because
It was like $50, I
yeah, it
think.
was I
It's
don't remember
Japanese
what movie,
import.
but it was a Studio Ghibli movie because I remember seeing I recognized the cover. While you're looking that up, I got one more movie I want to
All right.
talk about, and then I'll be done. So the other day I decided, I mentioned this to you, Zach, and I technically mentioned it to Jake, but Jake was in Facebook jail at the time, I think.
I got zucked.
Do you see it? Is it
Oh yeah, that's
Lily?
that's My Neighbor Totoro.
Yeah,
That's
Japanese.
a great, a great Studio Ghibli movie. And if it's in theaters, Zach, you should go see that one. I know you watched Spirited Away because I let you borrow
I've
it
only seen two: Spirited Away and Castle
in the
in
I
Sky.
the
love
Sky.
Howl's Moving Castle.
Howl's Moving Castle is really good. But I think My Neighbor Totoro, Spirited Away, and When Marnie Was There, top three all day long. Um, so anyway, last movie I'm going to talk about, and I'll be done. I decided the other day, I was like, I need to start watching more movies because I just been watching like true crime shows. Like I don't know if you guys have seen Snapped, the show Snapped. It's called
Mm.
Snapped Killer Couples, and basically it just talks about couples who go out and killing people. Um, or I've just been rewatching, like I've been
Some people have a
rewatching.
hobby, you know.
I mean, I enjoy it.
Good on them.
It's just easy because I can listen to that. It's like listen to a podcast, you know. Or I've been going back to things I've seen before, like I've been rewatching How I Met Your Mother, lately. But I've been like, I was like, I need to sit down and I need to really focus and watch a movie a night. And so before I went and saw like all those movies I saw this weekend, because I saw In a Violent Nature, Lord of the Rings, Secret World of Arietti, and When Marnie Was There in 4 days. And I was supposed to go
Wow.
see a movie. Um, what's today? Tuesday. I was
Tuesday.
supposed to go see a movie tonight, but we ended up not going. But anyway, this movie right here, it's called Black Moon. And for those of you listening, which is everybody, because we don't have video. Um, I'm showing them the Blu-ray. It's a Criterion Collection movie. Oh no, it's right there on the top, top left. So anyway, you see
I
the
see
C.
the C.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Anyway, it's like a movie. It's from 1970 something. To tell you, but it's like a they tried to do Alice in Wonderland and the Real World, um,
Hmm.
from 1975. And it's got this girl. Her name is
Lucy.
Catherine Harrison. She plays a girl named Lily.
Hmm.
And she's basically there's like this in the description. It calls it a gender war, women against men. So it's just a war, but you have one side that are all women, one side that are all men, and she's trying to like avoid it. She ends up at this house, this random house, and um I thought it was like her supposed to be her family, but no, she crashes her car, and this is first house she comes to, and it's this very weird house, right? So she accidentally steps on flowers, and the flowers start screaming at her. There's this unicorn that's a really ugly unicorn. Like it's very interesting, but it does seem like it tries too hard to be Alice in Wonderland, you know.
Hmm.
But I still really enjoyed it because I like weird movies. I like the
Yeah.
weirder the better, right? And so this was a weird movie. So I really enjoyed it. The weird thing was, and I think this was just something they did in the 70s, was this girl was 16 when this movie came out, and she has a nude scene in it. And the same with this other movie I have
Wow.
over here called House. It's a Japanese movie from the 70s as well, and there's a nude scenes in there, and it's just girls, you know.
In Black Moon, what country of origin is this movie?
It's in the UK,
Okay,
London,
maybe because it's different overseas.
maybe, but I
Yeah.
think I've seen American movies with girls that are 16, 17 that are showing
Oh,
their boobs, and I was just like, this is weird. I'm like,
Yeah.
and not only was it that, like she was showing, like you could see her, she was milking an old lady, um,
Ew.
which was, made it even. I was like, the milking the old lady part. I was like, that's
Ew.
not as weird as showing me a 16-year-old's boobs, But It was the 70s, dude. I don't know what to say there. It was just kind of caught me off guard, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But
Yeah.
other than that, she was a good actress. The characters in there were weird and awesome. There were a bunch of naked kids around as well. And they were like naked. You could see everything. Running around chasing animals. I was like, this is crazy. And
Chris
the unit
Hansen, where is he?
That's what I'm saying. Well, it's like I didn't choose this. I mean, I bought the movie, but I didn't know it was gonna be because there's no pictures on the movie except for these artsy pictures. Anyway,
Very cryptic.
it was still like a neat movie.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, it was cool.
Black
It's
Moon.
1975 Black Moon. So, and real quick, I was going through. I have this really cool, and I've showed you guys this really cool steelbook collection of Transformers. And I was going through, and I found this when I was looking through these. It's like a car decal.
Hmm.
Isn't that dope?
It almost looks like the Bionicles. Remember the Bionicles back in the day?
I mean, yeah, but
Like
it's the
it's
Autobots.
Transformers.
I'm trying to decide if I want to put it on my car, if I want to leave it. I kind of want to just leave it,
Do it so someone will honk at you and say, "Hey, fellow fan."
and then I'll change it to a Transformer.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yes.
so yeah, that's. I mean, I saw more movies, but it's the ones I want to talk about. Any other final thoughts before we get out of here?
Again, I'd like to be like you, Justin, and start watching a movie a night
A
or a day
night.
if I can. But lately, I've just having more success in watching episodes a night of series or documentaries.
Yeah, depends on how many episodes you watch, right? Because this is what I teach my students is like you can sit there and binge a show for 8 to 10 hours, but you can't watch one movie for 2.5 hours, you know? And I think that the thing is people it's easier to binge stuff because you can I guess because there's kind of like breaks in between each
People
episode.
people like the episodic format.
And yeah, and just
Mhm.
people just it's a stories a little more richer in TV shows. I get that. But it's like a movie only lasts maybe 2 hours now, 2.5 hours now, the average. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
I guess
I'll argue some shows, like some of the Star Wars live action shows. I mean, some of them, like Kenobi, as much as visually awesome as the show is, I don't know. I feel it should have been condensed and should have
Mhm.
been it's made a movie. To be honest, I didn't like the format
I've
of
got
series.
I've got a like bootlegged. This guy took the series,
yeah, you told us about that.
bootlegged it, and turned it down to a movie. And I want to make a case for it and burn it to a DVD or a Blu-ray because,
Blu-ray for your own
in my
personal
opinion, it's a
use.
lot better.
That would be
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to find that online. I think
I
you provided a link
You
and
can't.
then it
It's
worked or
off.
something. It's
It's
off.
off
Oh,
right now.
too
They removed
bad.
it.
Too bad.
The mouse got him
Well, you
somehow.
know,
The mouse got it.
that
Not
was
like he was
supposed to
selling
be
it.
that was supposed to be a movie originally, and then they turned it into a TV show, which is great. Like I did enjoy the TV show, but yeah, you're right. It probably could have been just turned into a movie.
But like shows like Andor, like those, even in its format, it felt more cinematic than Kenobi, in my opinion.
Have you watched Acolyte yet?
Yeah, the first couple episodes, it's
How are they?
I enjoyed the series, but I mean, it feels like I'm watching an animated, turned live action Star Wars series.
Oh, that actually sounds cool.
I mean, is that a good or bad thing? I don't know. But again, I'm with Disney Star Wars these days. I'm just soaking it all in, and it is what it is. I mean, nothing's really jumping out at me. Just
Yeah,
there's
that
just
was
so
one
much
of
coming out these days. I think The Mandalorian is fantastic, and Andor's fantastic. Otherwise, I'm not
It's just-
really. I'm not
well,
as
that-
enthusiastic about Star Wars these days.
that was the review of the first episode of Acolyte was, it's going to be more for people who are already deep into the Star Wars pool, right? People who are like you more than me who are just watching it because it's Star Wars, at this
Kind of like
point.
you'll watch, like you love Marvel, right? I mean,
Yeah,
you'll watch
and I
every
usually
Marvel
watch every
movie,
show.
despite that you may not like everyone equally.
Right.
I mean,
And
which is
yeah,
you probably don't
Marvel
like
movies.
everyone legally. Anyway,
No, well, the only Marvel property I haven't watched yet was the Secret Wars, I think, and Loki season 2. I haven't watched those yet.
Hmm.
But
shoot,
anyway,
is Loki, you think, required watching, guys, before watching the upcoming Deadpool movie?
Deadpool. I doubt it.
Just
I will
just a
say
TVA.
that the Loki series is probably my favorite Marvel television
I would
series.
agree.
Even more so than WandaVision.
Even more
Wanda,
so than WandaVision. WandaVision is a close second,
Hmm.
I
but
don't know, man.
The
Hawkeye.
Loki is fantastic.
I mean, Hawkeye really surprised me as how good I thought Hawkeye was. Now, and Moon Knight was good, but I don't think Moon Knight was as good as.
Moon Knight was a little messy.
Yeah, it was because Moon Knight they really tried to like go with all of his personalities, and it's just I was like, oh man, you should have done like with Deadpool because Deadpool, Wade Wilson does have someone who talks to him all the time in his head, and they didn't do that for the movie. And so I don't know if you guys have played the game Deadpool, but there's someone talking to him all the time, and
Was a
so like,
game?
yeah,
Oh,
His multiple personalities talk to each other.
yeah, he's got at least one personality in the game, probably more in the
I think
comics.
it's like at least
Um,
two
yeah,
in the
and so
game.
but in the movie, they just got rid of it, and which I think was a fine idea because I don't have to deal with that and deal with everything else that's going on unless they know how to do it. If they know how to do it, they figured out the recipe for it. But with Mark Spector, it's just like, oh my God, who's this new guy inside of his body?
so I'm suspecting. I guess before we wrap up, we could talk about movies that we're like looking forward to. I guess
Oh,
for me,
sure.
it would be Deadpool
Yeah.
with Wolverine, and I think
Deadpool
it's going to
Wolverine.
help. I think there's Marvel's been in a slump lately with their latest at least movies, and I think this is going to revive, bring some energy back to the community. I think.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm also looking forward to The Bike Riders, which was written and directed by Jeff Nichols, who is from Arkansas. It
That
looks
looks good.
and it just looks good. Yeah. Also, quickly, there's I don't know if you guys saw the live action Ghost in the Shell with Scarlett Johansson,
Oh yeah.
but it's based on an anime. And so they're re-releasing Ghost in the Shell 2 in theaters on the
The
23rd.
the animation, the anime
The
or
animated
the
one, the anime.
ooh.
And so I was like, heck yeah, I want to see that because I have the original, the anime, and I have the live action. I actually have two versions of the live action because one's a steelbook.
Hmm.
Um, and so I need to rewatch the original Ghost in the Shell and then watch this. Also, with speaking of the bringing the big screen, the classics to the big screen again, they're re-releasing South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, which was the movie from 1999, I think, which I watched a bunch as a kid. Also, Never Ending Story, Rear Window, Blazing Saddles, Mean
Ooh,
Girls, and The Fifth Element, and then the White Christmas. I've never seen White Christmas though.
really?
So
Wow.
some good big screen classics coming out. Um, Also Maxine. I don't know if you guys have seen or heard of Maxine with Mia Goth. I'm excited for that too. If y'all have seen Pearl or X, Pearl is good. I really liked Pearl. I haven't seen X yet. I need to watch that. But Maxine looks cool.
Yeah,
I'm
interesting.
excited for that. Yeah.
Is that a continuation of the Pearl X
Yeah.
story?
Yeah. Well, it's a weird trilogy, right? It has the same actress in all three of them. I
Uh-huh.
don't, but I've never seen X. Okay, but I don't know this for sure, but it doesn't seem like they go together as far as story goes. But I don't know
Okay.
that, and I
Okay,
don't.
cool.
Yeah, and if they do, don't tell me. Let me figure it out because I will watch X. I've seen Pearl. Pearl was good, and Maxine is coming out sometime soon. I thought I can't find it on this list I'm looking at, but unless it's coming out like later in the
Machine.
year. But it's about I think she's like a porn star who's trying to become a serious actor, but then she
Hmm.
gets tied up in some like murders and stuff. Um, oh, here it is. Yeah, it comes out in July 5th. Maxine Twister's is coming out soon. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but
I'm not gonna see it.
yeah, I don't know if
Why
Principal.
not?
I might go see it because it's a what do they call those disaster film in theaters.
I'm not gonna see it out of principle.
What's the principle? You don't see bad weather movies?
It's we already have the perfect Twister movie.
That's true. That's true. Oh yeah, Borderlands is coming out this year too in August.
That one looked fun.
Oh, Alien Romulus. It
Who's
comes
in?
out in
Isn't
16.
Kate Blanchett in that or no?
Kate Blanchett, Kevin Hart, Jack
Yeah,
Black.
that
A
looked
lot
kind
of
of
big names.
I'll
lot of
see it.
fun.
Oh, I'll go see
Looks like
it.
a
Don't.
fun movie.
Yeah. Oh, The Crow looks good too, and that's got Bill Skarsgård. The new Crow. They remade The Crow. So anyway,
And Joker 2, right?
I'm still looking through.
November, I believe. I don't know for
Yeah,
sure.
I'm only in September. Oh, Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice is coming out.
I like the
Beetlejuice.
trailer for that. I haven't even seen the first
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice movie, but I like the trailer for the sequel because of that choir and the build up to him like just
Yeah.
rising vertically. Like, how's he doing that? Is
And he
something
says
lifting
the
him up or
juice
what?
is loose. Yeah,
The
probably.
juice is loose.
That was a good impression there, buddy. Oh, Joker 2 is coming out in October.
I think that's probably my most anticipated film, just because I don't know what to expect on the. I know it's some type of musical, but how are they going to incorporate that?
It's a joke. It's a
I'm baffled.
jukebox musical, so they're gonna sing songs
Jukebox
that have
musical.
already created. But
I'm looking forward to the experimental
I
nature of the
am
film.
very wary of
We
going to
know.
see
We've
it
heard your thoughts.
but I will probably go see it, despite
Probably,
probably.
you'll see it.
I just do not care for Lady Gaga. I just do not care for her. But you know what? Like with Sydney Sweeney, she might surprise me.
And so that's
Have
more
one good movie.
glaring of an issue to you is despite you don't like Lady Gaga, it's more bothersome to you than the jukebox musical aspect, which is what majority of people that
No, that
have
doesn't
some
bother me.
opposition to the movie don't like.
No, that doesn't bother me one bit.
Doesn't bother you.
No.
Just the
Jukebox
acting.
musicals are fun. I mean, Moulin Rouge was a jukebox musical. People
never
love
seen
that
that.
movie. I never saw it either, but I do know it's a jukebox musical because they sing songs that have already been created.
People just they hear musical. I think people that think of like Disney
Yeah.
movies. That's I think.
I mean, Glee was jukebox musical.
Yeah.
That was a popular show.
Yeah, but that's I mean, we're
Venom.
talking about
Sorry.
Joker.
Venom's coming out. Venom 3. Bambi.
Yeah, the final one.
Bambi the Reckoning. You like those Disney horror movies?
Yeah, those are like my
those
curiosity,
are your
guilty pleasure movies. By the way, the sequel to Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey was fantastic.
They're building a like out of
Mo-
copyright horror verse.
Yeah,
Okay. If you say so.
I dig it.
It's the same. It's the same people who do the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and they're gonna like
Create a multiverse with all of those characters.
I think I did see something like that.
I think they're doing another one with Mickey Mouse, which is also in that.
Steamboat Willie.
Excuse me, Steamboat Willie.
Yeah.
Winnie
Don't
the
come for us.
Pooh, the sequel to Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. They basically there was one scene where you see a guy watching on television, like a character in the sequel watching on television, the first movie, and it's like retconning some aspects from the first movie.
It's
So
like
I think it's like it explains as to why essentially Winnie the Pooh and Piglet and everyone else looks different, like upgraded wise, like their costumes.
Oh, I see. It's like a Human Centipede 2. It's
they
about
did
this
something like that.
Well, basically, the Human Centipede 2 is about this special needs adult man who loves the first movie so much that he wants to create his own centipede, but instead of 3 people, he does 12 people. And so, but he's also not a surgeon, so he doesn't, surgically stitch mouths to butts. He just staples them.
Is there ever feces in the movie?
Yeah, and
Ugh.
actually, in the movie, his mom comes in and she's like, "You've shit yourself again, haven't you? You shit yourself again." And yeah, it's very funny, but like, it's also really weird. So, but like I said, did you see my TikTok I sent the other day? Or I posted the other day? I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
Anyway, any final thoughts? Any final thoughts about movies you watched over the break, if you will, or anything like that?
It's just good to be back.
I tell you
I like
what,
talking with you guys.
me too.
Yeah, that's
should do this
that's the
more
biggest
often.
takeaway. That's the biggest takeaway I'd say of this episode. Is we're back.
I'm not.
Hopefully more meeting more often, and
It was just easier to do this episode as far as like the content than it was to be like, all right, what are we going to talk about? Let's talk about this one specific topic. It's like, no, let's just talk about what we've been doing. We've been on a break. Let's do that, and then we'll go back into like doing
more
topics.
structured topics. Yeah,
this was fun though.
I like
all right,
cool. By the decade episodes.
I think the
decade are we
90s
approaching?
or 80s is next.
All right.
So that's not until the 20th episode though. So we have I think we are on episode, I think this is episode 14. So all right, cool. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up there. Thanks for listening to our extra long episode. Like I said, we've been gone for a little bit, so we're back and hopefully going to be back for the unforeseeable future.
We're getting our juices flowing once again.
Yeah, for sure. So watch movies, everybody. If you have any ideas of episodes you'd like us to do, please hit us up on any social medias, or you can listen to us at anywhere you pretty much get your podcasts, including YouTube. So yeah, hit us up, listen to us, love us, hate us, just listen to us, please. All right, well, is that Jake?
Huh? Have a fantastic day.
Wait, hang on.